This is where its heart is. In the naturalist faith, one reverences nature, and if you're going to use traditional religious language, nature is divine. Nature is what one serves, and so the task in a naturalist faith is to appreciate, to praise, to protect, and to try to enhance nature. And a naturalist faith desires to protect the earth, not first of all because a good and healthy earth enhances human life, though it would do that as well, but rather one of a naturalist faith desires to protect the earth because that is where one's primary spiritual connection is. So though the human species is valued as part of the earth, it is the earth itself as the larger whole that is more valued. One of a naturalist faith may feel more than most the need to get away sometimes from the human world, to leave all things that have the human scent upon them, and to get out to some place on the earth where there are no lights, no sounds of engines whirring, no smokestacks spewing, no sign of any human civilization. To do this brings cleansing from human overindulgence. It brings clarity for what is real, and it brings refreshment so that you can again live a true human life. Those of a naturalist faith put the emphasis on what nature is and what it can do. And the praise is directed to nature as a whole, not so much to the human part of it. And it's in this larger context then, and by contrast, that the human enterprise is diminished and thus finds its proper place. Out of a naturalist perspective, there can be a kind of odd comfort, perhaps some of you have felt it, in the experience of one's littleness and finiteness with respect to larger reality. The vastness of time, the vastness of space just wipes you out. But it's okay. It's okay in the same way that being in the Grand Canyon is okay. And so it is that the naturalist window on reality contains and promotes the long view of things so that you understand that you are connected to a larger process, connected to the natural life of things, their comings and goings, their births and deaths, the ebb and flow. One of a naturalist faith sees one's own end in that larger context, and when it comes time to give up one's body to the larger body of nature, one willingly does so. I have a poem. Need to do a poem here. Robinson Jeffers, who was introduced to me by Merle Dawson. Some of you will remember. Grand Rapids Junior College at that time. And at the end of his life, in his effects, there was a poem found titled Vulture. Rarely do you find any humor in Robinson Jeffers' poems. There is some here. I had walked since dawn and lay down to rest on a bare hillside above the ocean. I saw through half-shut eyelids a vulture wheeling high up in heaven, and presently it passed again, but lower and nearer, its orbit narrowing. I understood then that I was under inspection. I lay death still and heard the flight feathers whistle above me and make their circle and come nearer. I could see the naked red head beneath the great wings bear downward staring. I said, "My dear bird, we are wasting time here. These old bones will still work. They are not for you." But how beautiful he looked, gliding down on those great sails. How beautiful he looked, veering away in the sea light over the precipice. I tell you solemnly, I was sorry to have disappointed him. To be eaten by that beak and become part of him. To share those wings and those eyes. What a sublime end of one's body. What an enskyment. What a life after death. Mysticism. What is a mystical faith? Well, the mystical faith locates the primary meaning, value, and purpose in life as having to do with a sense of union with that essence of being which underlies and which is more real than nature in its typical use of the word. In mysticism, an individual understands first that all things are of one piece and interconnected. Secondly, that there is an interior essence or depth dimension that links all things. Thirdly, that this interior essence is also the root of one's being so that one can know and experience this interior essence or depth dimension of reality. And fourth and finally, the mystic finds language utterly inadequate to get at this unitive experience, though it valiantly tries to do so. Author J.D. Salinger writes, I was 6 when I saw that everything was God, and my hair stood up. It was on a Sunday, I remember. My sister was only a tiny child then, and she was drinking her milk, and all of a sudden I saw that she was God, and that the milk was God. I mean, all she was doing was pouring God into God, if you know what I mean. This, I would say, is the primary feature of the mystical experience. From the one side, it is subtraction, that is to say, the dissolving of the distinctions, the blurring of boundaries between things. From the other side, it is addition, the positive recognition of the fundamental identity of things of which you are a part and which you can experience. Modern mysticism does not by any means deny science its method or its value, but it operates on the notion that there is more to reality than science is equipped to handle. Reality is not exhausted by matter, energy, or by what the 5 senses can take in. And so mysticism, in contrast to both humanism and naturalism, does wish to go behind or beyond or beneath or above or within this concrete cosmos, not necessarily so much to create another reality apart from it, but in order to say that there is more to reality than meets the eye. There is an interior essence to reality so that it consists of both manifest and unmanifest reality. Says the poet Robert Bly, behind matter there is some kind of heat around and behind things, so that what we experience is not the turtle nor the night only, nor the rising whirlwind, nor the certainty, nor the steady gaze, nor the meeting by the altar, nor the rising sun only. Leaving the poets, I might go to a scientist, someone of some note, Albert Einstein, who said, to know that what is impenetrable to us really exists, manifesting itself as the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty which our dull faculties can comprehend only in their most primitive forms, this knowledge, this feeling is at the center of true religiousness. In this sense, and in this sense only, I belong to the ranks of the devoutly religious.